when it comes to the rudimental issue, what I've always found funny is people talk about how they want to apply more rudiments, and like I said earlier, it's kind of like saying I want to apply more, letters to my words. It's just a matter of semantics, kind of. It's you can't help but play rudiments. The second you start playing anything, it's a single stroke roll or double stroke roll. It makes up everything. The two first rudiments. So those phrases are made to serve us. We use them to play music. We're not here to serve them. So nobody is ever going to have you play a piece of music and walk up to you and require and tell you you're going to have to play paradiddles all throughout it, or you're going to have to. Obviously, they're not going to do that. But what I find kind of interesting is that I actually almost surprised myself when I started doing this for students. You can take almost any rudiment, even the ones that sound like maybe they're a little bit off the beaten track, or ones that you might more question, well, how would that really apply? But even those ones, you can take them and you can apply them to the drum set immediately and make it sound like something as it is. But in reality, you work in and out of them and you splice them all together. But even if you have to put them straight ahead, obviously, like if you're playing like a, paradiddles or inverted paradiddles. What I find interesting on inverted paradiddles, seriously, I play. And then I change the accent. Instead of the last backbeat, I play. All of a sudden it sounds kind of Latin-y, or people will think of it that way. But any rudiment, it can be applied. It's just how you tend to play it. Like if I go to the other end of the spectrum, take a rudiment that people might not see immediately as applicable, would be maybe like flam drags. But again, it depends on how you play it, right? So if I open that up a little bit, like that, you can play it, and it's like, oh, it has a nice phrasing to it. But I heard Steve Smith do something like this years ago, and I kind of copied it. And this is what I came up with. I'm not sure if it's the way he's doing it, but I did flam accents, flam drags, and brought it back to one hand all the time. You open up the grace note, and you play it. So now I'm playing, say like, up here. In a triplet thing. You can do all kinds of stuff. And do it the other way too, And people are never going to recognize that as a flam drag, because they're going to say, oh, that's a, it's like, oh, that's not that, but it is. It's how you work it. Or another good one is Rudiments. There's a whole lot of, obviously 5-stroke rolls and drags and single drags, drag tap, whatever. They're all very applicable, but Rudiments is one that somebody said to me recently, that's kind of an old style rudiment, and I don't really see how it would apply. And I was, well, that's kind of interesting, because he even had like the Gad Rudiments that he made famous, it's just like, but it's a Rudiments, just application of that, But almost on that same idea, I would do like this hip hop kind of thing, where I play like so do the drag down here, and then the first note is replaced up here. So that, and then the way it worked, like the backbeat would come up, like kind of the drop backbeat. Pa, pa. And it's like, wow, oh, I guess you can't use that? Of course you can. It depends on how imaginative you are and how you play it. So, yeah, and every rudiment's like that. And that's what I found funny. The more I started doing that, the more I started realizing myself even, I'm going, wow, even if you play every rudiment exactly as it is. Like, this is a favorite of mine. Now, the thing is, we want to be disciplined about how we work on them and to keep the grace notes down and all that stuff, right? So we got... But the nature of a lot of flam rudiments especially is that people learn them in this very snappy kind of way, you know, like. I understand why they might do that, because if you're loose, it gets more difficult to keep the grace note down. So we have to try to keep loose and keep the grace note down. It's just hard to do that, but again, you loosen it up a little bit, and how you apply it, all of a sudden it becomes something else. So I say, so I'll play, say something like. It's a kind of a funky-ish kind of groove now with ghost notes, and people even think of it as a flam mill. You know, I thought that's an interesting one. As a matter of fact, it just so happens that I was working last week with a student on a partito alto groove, and I'm just pulling this one out here, so hopefully I'll play it. But I played it just naturally a certain way, and he said, "Well, what was that?" And when I broke it down, I said, "Well, it's actually just flam taps." So you know, I was playing. Like that, at that tempo. What I played, let's see if I can do it. Something like that. That's pushing it a little bit, but basically, it's just like, and change it to upbeat. That was one that just came out of left field, so you can always find interesting ways to do stuff. And man, you know, like it's drag paradiddles, you know, drag paradiddle number 1, or a drag 5 thing we used to play in drum corps actually. Drag with singles. And eventually did it with the grace note, not the grace note, but the first of the double strokes down here. You know, moving around different ways like that, and it's still based on one sticking and one pattern, which is not literally a rudiment, that one, but it's a makeup of kind of a hybrid rudiment.